We often treat rejection like a death, the death of a dream, a relationship, an opportunity, a version of ourselves we thought we were becoming. And in that moment, when the door slams shut, we grieve, not just what we've lost, but the story we told ourselves about what should have been. But what if rejection isn't a dead end? What if it's a cosmic detour, a disguised redirection that leads us somewhere far more true? We rarely see it that way. Rejection feels like failure. It bruises the ego, scrapes the heart, leaves us asking, "What's wrong with me?" But here's the paradox. Some of the greatest awakenings come not from getting what we want, but from being denied it. Because when life says no, it isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes the door doesn't close because you're unworthy, but because what's behind it is unworthy of you. In the moment, it's hard to believe that. We cling, we bargain. We imagine if we had just been smarter, prettier, more charismatic, more agreeable, maybe things would have worked out. But that's the trap. We assume rejection means we've failed at being what the world wanted us to be. And we never stop to ask, was the world asking for something I was never meant to give? Rejection is painful because it pulls us out of alignment with the expectations we were attached to. But hidden inside that rupture is a kind of freedom. The freedom to reevaluate, to recenter, to redirect. There is a Zen proverb, "The obstacle is the path." Rejection is often that obstacle, but it only blocks the path you thought you needed. It clears space for a path you hadn't seen yet. Think of how many things you desperately wanted that, in hindsight, would have destroyed you. Think of the people who left, and how their absence made room for your becoming. Think of the plans that fell apart, only to reveal the quiet architecture of something better taking shape. The universe speaks in strange ways, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in silence, and sometimes in rejection. But rejection isn't always the world pushing you away. Sometimes it's your soul pulling you back, away from a place you don't belong, back toward your truth. You can't see the full map when you're walking through the dark. But just because you've hit a wall doesn't mean there's no way forward. It just means it's time to turn. There's something inherently humbling about rejection. It cracks the illusion of control. It reminds us that no matter how carefully we plan, not every door will open. And that's a good thing, because the doors that stay closed are often the ones that would have caged us. Rejection removes the options that were never meant for us, and in doing so, it sharpens our discernment. It teaches us that not every yes is a blessing, and not every no is a loss. In fact, the no might be the most sacred answer you could receive, not because it affirms your path, but because it challenges you to find another one. Carl Jung once said, "We don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Rejection brings you to that darkness, and in that space, between who you were and who you're becoming, you have a choice: to see yourself as abandoned or to see yourself as being redirected. Because that redirection, it's not random. It's intelligence. It's grace. It's the deeper current of life rearranging your path, not to hurt you, but to wake you up. You don't always get to choose how the world responds to you, how people treat you, what opportunities fall through, which hands let go. But you do get to choose what those moments mean. You can let rejection define you, or you can let it refine you. And when you do, when you stop seeing rejection as the enemy and start seeing it as a redirection, everything changes. You stop chasing the wrong things just to feel accepted. You stop begging for doors that were never built for you. You stop doubting your worth just because someone else couldn't see it. And instead, you begin to trust the unfolding. You stop trying to force clarity out of chaos, and you start listening, really listening, to the quiet rhythm beneath the noise, to that subtle inner pull that doesn't scream but gently tugs, that sacred whisper that says, "This way, trust me." You begin to walk, not toward validation, but toward alignment, not to be seen, but to be whole. And in doing so, you stop chasing rooms that require you to shrink. You stop begging for entry into places that can't hold the fullness of who you are becoming. Because something inside you knows now, rejection isn't always cruelty. Sometimes it's clarity in disguise. It's life intervening. It's grace with sharp edges. It's a fierce kind of love, not the kind that soothes your ego, but the kind that strips it bare so your soul can breathe. Rejection peels back the false stories. It burns away the masks, the roles, the shoulds, so that what remains is real. A deeper self, a truer path, a life no longer built on chasing approval, but choosing truth. So the next time you hear a no from a person, a job, a dream, pause. Before you spiral, before you shame yourself, before you start rehearsing all the ways you could have been better, pause. Let the door close. Let the silence speak. And then ask, with soft curiosity, what if this isn't rejection, but redirection? Because maybe, just maybe, the path you're meant to walk doesn't begin with applause or affirmation, but with a closed door, a quiet detour, and a deeper kind of trust.
If this made you pause, if you're drawn to deeper truths and quiet strength, then you're in the right place. Like, subscribe, and keep exploring with us. See you in the next one.